In Lansing, the state senator from Michigan's 14th district, which covers Holly in the area, is Republican Ruth Johnson, who's back with us. She's the chief sponsor of a drug importation bill that's going to be the focus of a lot of discussion today. And Senator Johnson is on the other end of our line. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Frank.
Great to have you back with us. So tell me about your bill, what it would do.
Well, 4 out of 5 Americans believe the cost of prescription drugs is unreasonable, and we know about a third of patients say they're skipping prescription medication because of the cost. More than 3,400 drugs have boosted their prices just in the first 6 months in 2019. 41 drugs have boosted their prices by more than 100%. One generic version of the antidepressant Prozac has surged by 879%. So we know that the cost, if you live in Michigan or America, is just so much higher than other places. So the bill would allow the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to establish a Canadian drug importation program to reduce the cost of prescription drugs for Michigan consumers. And we'd have the same track and trace standards the FDA uses for U.S. pharmaceuticals to ensure the authenticity and the safety of the prescription drugs that would be imported from Canada. And just as a couple examples, the medication for multiple sclerosis in Michigan and America is $119.24. In Canada, it's $11.92.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that's huge. What do the drug manufacturers say about this difference in prices?
Well, they say that people in America have so much more disposable income that they use as an excuse to be able to charge us for medication 10 times as much as they do in Canada or Europe. So it really isn't right. There's people out there that can't afford their medication. They're not taking it. I know someone that passed away because they couldn't afford it. It's just not right that they're putting all the cost to Americans rather than equally.
All right, your drug importation bill now would allow us to, I want to get the details of this. I'm sorry to be, if I'm digging too deep into the weeds, I apologize. But does this bill, does it focus on the Canadian supply of drugs? Does it focus on the manufacturers of drugs in Canada? Who's it aimed at trying to bring prescriptions here at a lower price?
Well, the Trump administration announced over the summer its Safe Importation Action Plan, which really paves the way for the importation of Canadian pharmaceuticals in cases where it wouldn't compromise safety and would not result in significant reduction of prescription and would result in significant reduction of prescription costs. So my bill requires the state to work with the federal government to get all necessary approvals for Michigan's program to do just that.
Mm-hmm. And you are convinced that they are going to have enough medicines over in Canada? I've been saying this morning quite a bit, and the listeners might be getting tired of it, but Canada only has 37 million residents roughly. We have 300 million in our country. So how do we get enough medicines from Canada to fill our needs?
Well, the good thing is where there's a need, it gets filled in. That's just the way our system works, and I think it will work with this too. We need to allow people to get prescription drugs without having to get on a bus and go stand in line someplace in Canada. I had a neighbor that did that, and now she's too frail to do it, so the medication's so expensive, she's really struggling.
Have you been getting any pushback from the Canadian side over this?
Yes, we did receive 2 letters that they were concerned about this program.
Huh. And your response to them was?
Well, we're taking everybody's input into consideration, but we have to do something. It's just not fair that across the world people are paying 10 times less, 5 times less, even for something like fibromyalgia and seizures. We're paying 9.6% more than they are in Canada and Europe.
Yeah, which is hard to fathom, given that you would think because they sell so many more of these medications over here, that would lower the price. That they're doing a great amount of business, therefore they have more product from which to make profit. So
I think you're right.
Yeah. So I don't get it either, and every company that goes into business wants to make as much money as you can. I get that, but at some point, you're providing a public service like this, prescription drugs that are so necessary for people, and the public good comes into play more than anything else, I would think.
I think so. It's almost a monopoly, too. And the life-saving developments of pharmaceutical companies are to be applauded. And the need for research and development dollars and the fair profit for the work should be recognized. But this is well past that.
All right, and the only way to get action done by everyone is to have sessions like this downtown. 400 people or more will be here today at the Wayne County Port Authority for the AARP session on lowering prescription drug prices, and I think every one of them will applaud you for your efforts to help them out. Ruth Johnson, thank you so much for being with us, Senator. We appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.